Okay, today is August the
Yep.
5th. And it is the meeting of the Town of Berlin Board of Health being conducted via Zoom. Anybody that wishes to speak or participate will be given that opportunity. The meeting is being recorded so that people can review at a later date and still follow up. And with that, we can just move on to our agenda, which is not very meaty tonight, so this shouldn't be a too involved meeting. Okay, the first thing I have on the agenda is Marlborough Road and a trailer situation.
Yep. A few meetings ago, we had discussed a neighbor calling about a trailer that she suspected was being occupied. So we sent a very general letter just advising the owner of the housing code prohibiting temporary housing. So that went to an owner in Georgia. And never really heard back from the owner or the person that complained. Got a call maybe a week or two ago about the person that complained. She said she felt it was still occupied, but I drove by last week and this week, and it looks like the trail has been tucked into the side of the yard and it's all closed up. So I'm going to call the woman and see if she agrees that it does not appear to be occupied any longer. If she feels it is, then we'll jump to a certified letter to the owner.
Okay. Just making notes. Occupied. All right, Title V inspections.
Yeah, we got 86 Lyman Road as a pass and 8 Car Road as a pass.
Okay.
And 156 Lyman Road, we had a few meetings ago. The report indicated they did not know where their water softener discharge went. So we wrote a letter asking them to determine that and reroute it if needed. And they had Freots out there, and they did determine it was in the septic system and it was rerouted to a perimeter drain. So we have that in writing. So I actually drafted a letter today for Val that indicates that based on this information, now the Title V is considered complete.
Okay.
Because I'm off next week, so I'm trying to get ahead of these letters just in case they need it, like for a closing or something. And Val, I'll swing by tomorrow. And then I've got some items not on the agenda once, I don't know if the board has anything else.
Why don't we go ahead with your items, Bill, please?
Yep, so 36A West Street, that is that one-bedroom apartment
Yep.
that Peter Larson is selling. The lot has the house and the apartment on it. Apartment system failed. We issued a permit for it last meeting, or yeah, I think it was last meeting. It was installed. So it was installed in theory in the same spot, same elevations, but apparently there's a discrepancy in the benchmark. So the trench that was okayed 10 years ago was put in the same elevation, same spot, and this time it's 6 inches too low. So the owner is hoping the board will consider the local upgrade approval option, which allows that offset to be reduced from 4 foot to 3 foot. In this case, we have 3.5 feet versus pulling out the trench and raising it a 6 inches.
Well, it's a single trench. It's not a high demand situation.
Nope.
And it seems to me it would be counterproductive to tear out something that's new and replace it over 6 inches in this particular situation. So,
Yeah, I agree.
from my perspective, it's fine. We would allow for the differentiation here.
Yep. So
Bobby,
I'll
any
draft that for
thoughts?
him. Yep.
I have no problem. It's still gravity feed, right, Bill?
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So
Yep. Basically, Peter dug out the old trench. That D box, it's still in good
Right.
shape. So use that same box. Just put it right back in. Should have checked it, I guess, verified it was the engineer's point, not just assume. But
Right.
you know, seemed like a safe assumption, but for whatever reason, there was that discrepancy in benchmark, so.
I mean, if the situation was different and it was a much larger system, that might be a different animal, but in
Right.
this particular case, I really don't see any harm, any foul.
Nope, and it is allowed by code, yep.
Right, and it is allowed by
Yep.
code.
And then we're starting in person the 19th. I just wanted to confirm that.
Yes, we'll be in person and Zoom on the 19th.
Hybrid, yep, okay.
Waste Zero is coming to do a presentation on pay-as-you-throw and the sorts of things they do to help communities, the services they offer. So there'll be a presentation relative to that, and they are scheduled for 7 o'clock. So anything else that comes before the board, I'm gonna say we probably wouldn't be able to deal with it till 7:45 or so. That's
Sure.
just guesstimate at this point.
Yep. Now, is the intent to go on with in person, or is this specifically because of this presentation?
Because of the presentation.
Okay.
Did book the conference room.
Uh,
So we
yeah,
just need to
in
figure out how
the
to-
the last room on the right, I never remember the number.
Yeah. Oh, that one? Okay, I booked the one right next to us.
Okay, no, it probably should be the one at the end because I
Okay.
believe they need technology.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it very general. I had a call from a resident that's thinking of doing an ADU, but is not really thrilled about a tank upgrade. So he's asking me about the details of a Title V variance. You know, I said historically, the Board of Health in Berlin has been requiring this tank upgrade long before Title V did in this ADU reg change. So I said there's no history of that ever being approved. And I said the board in general doesn't like to set precedent, because if we allow an ADU to go in without the tank upgrade, I'm sure other people will ask for the same. So just kind of a heads up that we may be seeing that request. I got the owner all the information, the Title V sections, information on his existing tank, all that stuff, so he can kind of decide if he wants to pursue that or not.
Okay.
Wow, okay. I guess you don't get what you don't ask for, but if with the ADU situation, I mean,
Mm.
requiring a tank upgrade doesn't seem to be, shouldn't be that much of a deal breaker for someone.
Well, you know what I
Right.
forgot to tell him also is I'm sure the value of his building permit is going to way exceed probably 100 even thousand.
Oh,
So
yeah, for an
two
ADU,
reasons.
easily.
Oh.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yep. So there'd be two reasons they'd be looking for that tank upgrade. And that is all I have.
Okay. Speaking of tank upgrades, I did have a conversation with our building inspector and Leanne, the clerk, and they are willing and able to put something on the building permit application that notifies people that if I'm going to paraphrase, if the building permit has a value of X number of dollars or more, they may be required to upgrade their tank. So it gives people a heads up early on before they even start their work. So we avoid a couple situations where we had recently where people were surprised by it, and we're not trying to do that with any intent, but if we put it on the permit, then that helps us foster, a better relationship. And what we need to think about, the verbiage doesn't have to be much, but what we have to think about is the amount of money, and also if there are any exclusionary type things. Like Bill had told me that there was a recent permit for X number of dollars, I don't know, 50,000 or whatever, but it was to repair water damage in the house. So that's not adding on, expanding, or anything else. That's simply a repair. And my thinking is that that should be treated a little differently. That shouldn't mandate a tank upgrade. And we're not going to vote on this tonight, but I want to hang out some things so we can all think about it. And also it brings to mind if somebody puts on a deck, some decks are pretty expensive, $40,000, $50,000. Should that require a tank upgrade? Now, if somebody's adding on to a house, adding a room or something like that, that's a different animal. I think that should fall under the parameters of possibly requiring a tank upgrade if the dollar amount is there. So we have two issues, the dollar amount that we want to use as a benchmark. And if we want to address these other situations a little differently, separately, and not necessarily include them in a mandatory tank upgrade.
Some wording. Again, we can talk about values. You could list simple exclusions like, repairs, deck, siding, windows, roof, stuff like that. But you could also have a caveat of like at the board's discretion. So, if
Yeah,
something
well,
doesn't fall
Right.
into a category, the board could decide.
Yep, that's a very good point.
The other thing, Paul, is what if they take out several permits per year? We'll have to think about that into it too. Like they take out one for this, one for that, one for that, and then it totals into, we might have to look at.
Well,
like,
that would be a question for Rich Hanks, how often that
Oh, yeah.
happens.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Interesting point. I hadn't thought about that, and it's something worth looking into. My personal feeling right now is I doubt that happens much, but I have no idea, so I could be way off base on that.
Right, me too. I don't know. Just something
Yeah.
to think about.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. And I'll talk to John about all this so he can think about it. And I'd like at the next meeting that we put a stake in the ground relative to the verbiage, the dollar amount and so forth, so that we can just put this to bed and
Yeah.
have an actual vote on it and so forth.
Sure.
Another thing, update. You've probably seen the email that the Powder House News is not going to come out till October, November, I guess will be the next one. And my, what I would like to do is submit I'll call it a mini white paper about hazardous waste. And let the townspeople know what options are available. We've got New England Disposal Technologies in Sutton. I put a call into Devon's today, got a recording. I want to find out what and I believe it still exists, as an initiation fee or a joining fee
Yeah.
for municipality. We proposed that once and it got turned down by the town. I'm not crazy about that idea myself, but we need to get the facts so that we can put it out there, as well as any possible scenarios where we can have a company come to us and do a hazardous waste day or half day or something like that. I know we have a couple phone numbers. I've talked to Val. We just need to do some digging and research on that. But I would like to think that would be a good piece of subject matter to get into Powder House News. It's an opportunity for us to put that out there and any other things that, and maybe we can visit the surveys that have come in and see if there's any meat there that multiple people have brought up questions about that we can provide some sort of answer or response to. And with that, I know Val has found out some things about sending communications out to the town, so I'd like to let you run with that, Val.
Okay.
And let
Yeah,
us,
that looked great, Val, the different stuff we could put it out on.
Yeah, yeah. So I figured out how to send stuff out through the town website notifications. And so just as a
Yeah.
test, I did the recent mosquito spraying
Yeah.
schedule. And so
Perfect.
and it I did like clip a picture, and I do have a way that I can format it will come across a lot nicer. But anyway, anything you want to send out, it's pretty easy to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
will that generally go just to the generic town website, or does that click off to the Board of Health, or how does that work?
So a lot of it is going to be under the Board of Health umbrella, that we have
Okay.
but Dee has told me that if there's anything we want front and center when people open up the website in like the town news announcements,
Oh, okay.
we
All
can
right.
do that. She even told us that next year when it's sticker time, if we want to have something on like the Facebook page right up
Yeah.
top that's the first thing they see, she can do that. So it sounds
Oh,
like
okay.
if the possibilities are kind of endless, as long as we just have the information and know where to go and who to ask.
Okay, that's a tool we'll definitely have to start really thinking about the best way to use it, because
Yep.
there's a void of information certainly out there, and
Right.
people are digging in more and more, and you know,
Even,
there's a lot of, it might be generic to us, transfer station information that the general public doesn't know. Um,
your
cost
survey, Paul.
comparisons and things like
Yeah.
that. People may be going to curbside and not really be aware of all the different services at the transfer station that could make their life a little simpler. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good to know. It'll make a little more work for us, but that's okay. It's information work,
Hey.
and that's a
Yeah,
good thing.
and actually on one of the surveys, someone had mentioned that there was old information up. So I did take an opportunity on Monday to really kind of do a deep dive into
Oh,
some
good.
stuff. And I
Mhm.
found like things like, a rabies schedule from 3 years ago that I took down, or,
Yeah.
there was like a flu clinic type thing. So all of that outdated stuff's gone, and we'll work really hard to get the current stuff up there as it comes in.
Oh, terrific, terrific. That's
Thank
really
you.
good news. Um, I don't have anything else, other than just in passing, I'm going to once again approach our town administrator and the select board about the 1870 house and the septic, and
Yeah.
how the town really needs to do a Title V. I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, they want to use the 1870 to generate income. And right now, we have no idea what the capacity um, is legally okay. This has been a situation that's been in existence for over 25 years. Franny Burke tried to resolve it in the early 2000s. And it just keeps getting, I don't know, the can keeps getting kicked down the road. So we may not become, some people at town offices might not be happy with this, but I think as the Board of Health, we need to keep pushing on this, because with pending, yeah, Bill, go ahead.
Ago, an engineer actually came to my office and reviewed the file for 1870, the church, and the Lindsay home. She actually called me this week. It sounds like the town is moving forward on trying to ascertain a design flow for that system. And it sounds like the house will be, respected first. And then if there's additional flow available, see how it could be used by 1870, or you know, 1870 may have to pursue their own system, depending on what they want to do there. But at least behind the scenes, it sounds like the town's moving.
Okay,
forward.
because the last I heard is that the engineering firm of, I don't know, Harold Stein or Stein, whatever,
Yes,
they were looking into it, but I got no additional information. So what you just said
Yeah.
kind of backs that up, and
Yep.
I'm pleased to hear that.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
planning takes time, and you know, the Complete Streets project is supposedly, it's mandated that that's done by the end of 2026. You know, we're halfway through 25, and it takes time, you know, if they're gonna be, if a new leach pad or whatever is required for 1870, it's gonna take a little while to put that together, so I'm glad to hear that there's some movement on that. Good.
Your presentation was pretty good on that, Paul. You were talking about the other stuff with the transfer, but you brought that up to the selectmen, and you did a good job telling
Thank
them
you,
what's
yeah.
going on.
It's just, it's reality, you know, and
Yeah.
they've got a lot of other things on their plate, I know that, but, it
Yeah, well-
strikes, you know, this is kind of falls into our arena, so I think it's important that we just, stay with it, for everyone's benefit. 'Cause I'd hate to see Complete Streets project done and then all of a sudden things have to get dug up to address this. That would be a waste of money.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah, correct.
I'm, you know, very hopeful it'll all work out now that I know engineering is looking at it. Excuse me.
Well,
All
sure.
right. Anybody have anything else? Bill, you're off next week, right? Or is it the
so
week after?
send everything to air. I'll be back on the 19th, and I'll be ready to roll. I'll be getting the agenda information to Val probably tomorrow, because
Okay.
obviously I won't be producing anything that week I'm off, but I do have some items for the 19th.
Okay.
Can we just approve the minutes too from last time? I'm sorry.
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Bobby, it's you and I as well.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Okay, the minutes.
Yeah, and everything will be sent to the air office. You know, any questions or folks that need something done that week, air will be able to get someone to cover whatever's needed.
Okay, good.
I see you're trying to get a nursing crew together, Billy?
Trying.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, the nurse that was hired to take Tamara's position resigned. So
Oh,
we're
God.
looking
Oh, really?
yet again. Yes,
Yeah. Try it again.
those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
gonna
for
say
sure.
Tamara
Yeah.
did quite a bit. Yep. Okay.
All right, everybody. Bobby, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We dissolve this meeting.
Okay, I second it. All in favor? Aye.
All right.